the faith, grace be with thee, amen. Now, erred means what? Incorrect or by mistake. So it says, which some professing have by mistake concerning the faith. So it's saying to avoid oppositions of science. Opposition means against, to go against. So science basically says that, this Bible is bullshit and that there's a more scientific explanation to why we are here and what's going on. So for the book to say to avoid anything that's contradicting it or going against it is something you need to look at as code 1. But it's also saying that people like these Hebrews would basically use this information, this knowledge with the faith, with their religion. This is exactly what it's talking about. These Hebrews basically using astrology, using science and math, and coupling it with the religion, the faith, and saying, this is God. This is what God wants us to know, and this is end time prophecy or what have you. When the book is telling you not to do that, it is very contradictive. And it's telling you in many instances, one, to basically go with science, to go against science. Astrology is bad. It's evil. You shouldn't do this stuff. And then people think, well, where does it say that it's evil or it's bad or what have you? And it says right here, Deuteronomy 18, 10 and 12. Start right here. It says, anyone who practices divination or tells fortunes or interprets omens or a sorcerer or a charmer or a medium or a necromancer or one who inquires of the dead, for whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord. 1 Chronicles 10, 13 through 14 starts out, so Saul died for breach of faith. Remember, he consulted a medium for information. He didn't consult God. And it says God put him to death. So you people who's sitting up here calling us devils and all kinds of crazy stuff, your Bible was saying what you're doing goes against God. Because you messing with astrology, you messing with science, you messing with the very stuff that your biblical doctrine is telling you not to touch. And Saul was put to death because he went to somebody who's doing the same shit you doing. Interpreting astrology and looking to the future and trying to figure out end times. You're supposed to just have faith. So y'all keep pushing this Bible as if, it's everything. And y'all follow it to the letter. And it's all truth and real and y'all got faith, faith, faith. If you had faith, you wouldn't be here. If you had faith, you wouldn't be jumping in and out of people's YouTube channels and posting stuff and running through all kinds of information trying to prove what you know is bullshit. You're trying to validate what you have put so much time and energy into, and you want it to be true so bad. You don't care how you switch it up and mix it around. You're trying to get out of it what you want out of it. And it's ego. People don't want to admit that they're wrong. It's ego what you're doing, and you're only hurting yourself. Plain and simple. Because we have been saying this stuff for years. None of you have come forth with any new information that we have not figured out. We know about the science. We know exactly what you're talking about. And we have been doing it already for a long time. So going back into the book and pulling out the astrology, going back into the book, tracing it back to Hebrew. First of all, one should tell you something, because we don't have an original Hebrew manuscript dating before the Septuagint Greek, as I always point out. We never had it. And if you was to find one or go back and look at the oldest biblical manuscripts that we do have, it is not giving you that same interpretation as the King James Version. You have to then decode that to get what you have in front of you, which is all Freemasonry. It's all, secret society, mystery school information that goes back to ancient Kemet, plain and simple. So these Hebrews want to keep calling us Egyptologists. I have seen so many Hebrews pull out Egyptian information and use that information to try to get their point across, not realizing that the stuff comes from there. You have people that follow the Babylonian Talmud and who is, deciphering that and using that, the Babylonian Talmud. First of all, you know how God felt about the Babylonians. And again, any information that you pull from that, the science, everybody that's into this whole Moorish science thing and into Islam and, Shriners or what have you, and talking about science, and not, some Moors do at least, but the rest of them, for the most part, do not get a credit to Kemet, and they can't go back to wherever, Babylonian, the Assyrians, or what have you, and find me science that predates what the Egyptians pulled out. Because if that was the case, then the Greeks and the Romans and everybody else would have been going there instead of going to Kemet and the mystery schools to figure this stuff out. Plain and simple. I've been there. I've been everywhere. I've seen it with my own eyes. You can't go back and find anything that's going to predate those pyramid texts and give you that kind of science. But not just that. We can go back and look at the fact that the age of the pyramids, as I talked about before, is way older than what they tell you on National Geographic or what have you. Same thing with the Sphinx. We know the stuff is older. Amos 5:8 says, "He who made the Pleiades and Orion and turns deep darkness into the morning and darkens the day into night, who calls for the waters of the sea and pours them out on the surface of the earth, the Lord is his name." Now when you look at the King James Version, it says, "See him that maketh the 7 stars in Orion," basically hinting to astrology. But you're going to be hard pressed to go back and find me a civilization older than Kemet that has been talking about Orion and corresponding and giving you a whole lot of references to Orion than the Egyptians. We know about the pyramids being aligned with the stars in Orion's belt. We know about the Osiris and Orion and a connection. As I said before, you have Osiris, which basically is combining Sirius and Orion together to give you Osiris, because this is basically what it's talking about. All stuff we have been talking about for a long time. It's already in the Bible. It's coded. And you have, as I said, these Hebrews and these Christians finally, some of them, because it's not that many of them, starting to read the book and starting to decode it. And now they're just blowing away like, oh my goodness, I'm finding out all this stuff. And we've been trying to tell you for years. It's not new. So you have a lot of people who are basically running back to the Hebrews because they start putting out this kind of information. And a lot of people watching these videos and people running back to the Israelites, what have you, thinking that they're on to something, when their own book is telling them they're not supposed to be dealing with this stuff in the first place. They ain't supposed to be messing with it. Of course, because then you would figure out the truth, which we did a long time ago. Y'all late. And y'all still don't want to give the glory to Kemet or to understand that this stuff was put there not for you to figure out, but for these secret societies to figure out and for you to follow what's on the surface. So you have a lot of people who are confused now because these people are mixing this stuff up, just like the Bible said they would do, because they understood that we would figure out the truth, and they warned y'all against us. They warning everybody else against what you guys are trying to put out, because they don't want nobody following what you guys are talking about either. They want y'all to follow the stupid version of the surface religion and exactly what it says, verbatim, word for word. They want y'all to follow it as is and what the preachers have been teaching us, because that's how they designed it for us to receive it, which is why, as I said, these priests and preachers go to seminary, they go to a school to learn exactly how to preach on the Bible and what to talk about, the topics. Plain and simple. The complicated stuff, you never hear about it. It's many Bible verses that you've been going to church for years, you never heard. A lot of this stuff people don't even understand is in the book. They don't know about it because they don't read the book. They go to church and have it read to them. So I basically made this video for the people who have been sending me this kind of information. And these newer guys or guys who, sat back for a long time and did research that want to follow the Hebrew doctrine, and they've been studying and researching, and some of them have actually read the book, and this is what they find. See, you're going to find exactly what you want, what you're looking for. And you have these people whose mind is so twisted, they put it in a way to where they can keep their faith and then try to explain the same stuff we've been talking about for years. It's crazy. And it's exactly the reason why I call this stuff, I said Peep game. This is the new religion. They making up these new religions, basically still saying it is Hebrew, but they changing the whole game. They're changing the whole doctrine of what these people actually speak to and trying to bring in the science and the astrology and everything to get you guys the people who don't know about this stuff to fall for it and say, wow, that's smart. It makes sense. Okay, the Hebrews know what they're talking about. Oh, so this really means that. Okay, you're right. When I go ahead and go back to the Hebrew, it does talk about this. And it's all bullshit. It's all to get you to come back to the Hebrew faith because we crushed them so well. And they still haven't been able to go ahead and explain why Deuteronomy 28 is different in the older manuscripts than the King James Version. As I pointed this out. Deuteronomy 28:68, the whole thing they always point to about going back to Egypt and ships. Everything about slavery, as I said before. King James Version was written 1611, and slavery was already going on. 1604 to 1611, slavery was already going on. Of course, they know about slavery. So when you read Deuteronomy, you're getting all misty-eyed thinking that it's a prophecy. Bullshit. It's not the same as the older books. It was written during slavery, so of course, they would know about it. They would know what happened to the slaves and what their agenda would be for the slaves. And they could put it in the book. And it has already been done to us. So now you're looking at it thinking that this was written over 2,000 years ago and it's a prophecy when it's not. It's not. So again, y'all falling for this whole bull crap and just in a different scheme as far as now they got so desperate that they wanted to hop on to the conscious side and pull out the conscious science and information that we've been talking about for years and try to, mix that in with what they talking about as far as the Hebrew doctrine and the Talmud and everything like that, and try to mix it in there to try to, validate this whole Hebrew crap. And a lot of people falling for it because they have no mind of their own to go do their own research. None of it fits. We've been talking about this kind of information for years. We've been putting it out for years. It's already on YouTube, and people who have been putting out information before me has been talking about this stuff. So they have found nothing new. They basically jumped onto what we had already discovered, mixing it in with the whole Hebrew doctrine when their Bible says that they're not supposed to do it in the first place. And then they're trying to regurgitate this crap to you and get you to eat it. And a lot of people are, and they lost because of it. So let me clear this up. And that's what this video was about. So you can see clearly what they're trying to do and that their own doctrine is against it. And they have no choice now because we've been crushing them for years. So I'm pretty sure this video will get a thumbs down from the Hebrews and Christians and the ones who think they know what they're talking about, who go on into this science and everything like that. And they're going to pull out some contradictions in the book that's going to be contrary to what I said here as far as the Bible telling them that they're not supposed to be messing with astrology. It's telling them that, clear as day. And they're going to try to give you a reason to why they can, which is going to be contradictory to the book, which is what we're talking about in the first place. It's all contradictions, full of contradictions. Divination is seeking knowledge of the future. They're giving you end time prophecy and stuff that's supposed to be happening in the future, even though their book says nobody's going to know. And they're giving you all these omens and stuff that's supposed to be happening and everything that the so-called powers that be is doing, predicting stuff, giving you prophecy. And anybody that professes prophecy is claimed to be a prophet, which is against the book. Bottom line, what I'm saying is y'all need to let the ego go. Come into the right knowledge and the truth and see that you can pull all this information out of the book and apply it to its right place and understand that your book was written by your oppressors, by your enemies, and that they hid within it their agenda, which is why you find these books within mystery schools and secret societies or what have you, because their agenda is coded in it. And the reason why it seems as if Bible prophecy is coming true is because it's their agenda that they are fulfilling coming true. Plain and simple. Everything points to it. Everything is right there for you to see, but you choose not to because of ego and because you believe in, fairy tales. You want the fairy tale to be true. I understand that, but it's not. The truth is far better. And once you really understand it and embrace it, you will see it. We point to Kemet because we can see that's where it came from. They're telling you that's where they stole it from. Plain and simple. We're not telling you to go ahead and follow Kemet, and Kemet is, these gods are real. As I pointed out before, we don't worship Egyptian gods. We understand that they are principles. They have to deal with us, energy, nature, a whole bunch of stuff. We're not saying that these gods are real. We are just simply saying to take a look and understand what these people talked about long before biblical religion. And we can prove that. And can none of you prove that this stuff was here before the pyramid text, before anything in ancient Kemet. You can't find any original biblical manuscripts that predate any Greek mythology or any of what the Egyptians put out. Everything that you're trying to use to validate your religion, you can't validate it or find proof. So this is what people is resorting to. The religion, the books, the doctrines requires faith for a reason, because there's no proof. There's no proof. So they want to use this astrology and science and everything as their proof, saying that, look at this stuff. This stuff is proof and this stuff is real, and it's somehow validating the Hebrew doctrine when in reality it's not. None of the stuff that these people are pointing out as far as astrology, science, and math is proven that the Hebrew doctrine is real. It's not proving that. It's proving that what we've been saying for years, we was right about. And now y'all just now late to the party to try to figure out what we've been trying to tell y'all for years, but y'all been too scared to look at. So bottom line, if you following this stuff, if you're one of the people that sent me videos or contacted me about this stuff, there you have it. Now you understand what they're doing and that this stuff is nothing new. It's bull. They're trying to come over to our side and use what we've been putting out for years to try to mix it in with their stuff. And because they haven't looked, they don't realize that they're wrong. Because they've been too scared to watch our videos, they can't see it. So this is what it is. Don't fall for this stuff. You got a lot of people with a lot of YouTube channels who's talking about this stuff and mixing in the Talmud, mixing in the Bible or what have you with astrology, which, as I just showed you, you're not supposed to be doing, and giving you a bunch of stuff that is completely false. And now that you understand that, you can see it and you can point it out. But I wanted to make this quick video. Thanks to all you guys who did send me the information and try to point this stuff out. Some of you guys were smart enough to figure this out on your own, which is awesome. So I wanted to make this for everybody else who hasn't really caught on to it or hasn't had this kind of information brought to their attention. So now when you see it, you understand what they're doing. And it's just a new way. Never seen this stuff before. Now all of a sudden, they're jumping out of the woodwork with this kind of information that we've been talking about for a long time. So don't fall for it. Do your own research, come to the truth and understand what's really going on. And as I said before, this is the reason why we can't really come together as, black people, because you have these people who are religious minded and who are so far gone that they're willing to do whatever they can do, make themselves look foolish to somehow keep alive their hope and faith and their belief in these fairy tale stories and these biblical characters as somehow being right and giving them some kind of glory or grace or what have you. And this is what people need. As I said before, they need something to put all their, faith in and hope in, and something to fear. I understand why people want to keep fear in their life and fear of burning forever or what have you, why you want to be, consumed with stuff like that. So we have a lot of people who are gone mentally because of this information. And this is what they choose to do with their time. And there's really no way you can start going into all this stuff and figuring this stuff out and not see where it's leading to. But because of ego and because they don't want to turn around and say, damn, these Hotep dudes was right the whole time, or these conscious dudes was right the whole time. They don't want to do that. So they're going to try to mix it in with their faith and give you, this bull crap. So I thank you guys for taking the time to watch. And thanks to everybody who purchased. As I said before, the prices was going up on the DVDs or what have you. I see a lot of you have bought everything because the prices will go up. I will bring them down as soon as they go down. As I said, they went up because my suppliers or the people who's doing the work for me, their prices went up, their costs went up, so my costs went up. So for the people, there's a lot of you who have ordered everything. It's going to be shipping out soon. The only reason why I'm waiting is because a couple of new DVDs are going to come out. And I want to add that to your package, even though you didn't pay for it. I'm a nice guy. I'm going to add it in there so you don't have to pay for it. When the price goes up, you can get it now since you bought everything. And it's quite a few of you, but you have all of the downloads, so you can still watch the video. But the DVDs themselves are on the way, and I appreciate the support. And, for everybody who has been purchasing and everything, appreciate the support, what have you. But I'm telling people now to go ahead and grab them before the price goes up on the 1st or the 2nd, whenever, I put it up. I'm trying to keep it where it's at for as long as I can, so it might go past the 1st. And I've kept it that way for a long time. My price has been went up. But yeah, I wanted to keep it this price for a long time, as I said. But, you know, they changed the price on me, so it is what it is, and nothing I can do about that. But thanks for the support, for everybody who has purchased and been purchasing like crazy. I appreciate it, and appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys next video. Thanks for watching.